In a quiet suburban neighborhood, where trees shaded the sidewalks and flowers bloomed in front gardens, lived a cat named Whiskers. He was unlike the other cats who roamed the area. While they chased birds, prowled rooftops, and explored every corner of the neighborhood, Whiskers preferred the comfort of his daily routine.
His favorite spot was a small patch of sunlight beneath an old oak tree where the world was calm, familiar, and safe.
Whiskers had always been different. The hustle and bustle of the neighborhood could overwhelm him. Loud noises startled him, and the unpredictable behavior of other cats made him anxious. He didn't like surprises and avoided the crowds that formed when something new or exciting happened. Yet despite his quiet and reserved nature, there was one cat that had captured his heart.
Lily, a gentle tabby with soft, shimmering fur, was everything Whiskers admired from afar.
She had a quiet grace to her, and unlike the other cats, she didn't need to be the center of attention. Sometimes Whiskers would watch her as she wandered through the neighborhood, her steps light and her eyes full of wonder.
But no matter how much he longed to be closer to her, he kept his distance. The thought of approaching her made his heart race, not with excitement, but with fear. He wasn't like the other cats who could charm and impress with ease.
Then, one day, everything changed. A newcomer arrived in the neighborhood.
His name was Spike, a scruffy stray with battle scars and a torn ear who strutted through the streets as if he owned them. His fur was ragged, his eyes sharp, and his voice carried tales of daring adventures from far beyond the suburban fences.
Spike's stories quickly drew the attention of every cat in the area, all of whom gathered around him in awe.
The scars on my body tell tales of the dangers I've faced, each one a mark of my bravery.
Whiskers watched from his spot beneath the oak tree as the crowd gathered around Spike. Among them, to his dismay, was Lily.
Wow, Spike, your stories are incredible. I can't believe you've been through so much.
She sat at the front, her eyes wide as Spike regaled them with his stories of battles fought and victories won. Whiskers' heart sank.
How could I ever compete with that? I don't have stories of daring adventures or scars that speak of bravery. All I have is my quiet little world, the one that doesn't seem interesting or exciting to anyone else.
Whiskers felt a pang of sadness as he realized how different he was from Spike. His quiet life suddenly seemed so small and insignificant compared to the adventurous tales that captivated everyone else.
Spike, tell us more about the time you faced off against that big dog.
Yeah, we want to hear more.
The crowd's excitement only deepened Whiskers' sense of isolation. He turned away, retreating further into the shadows beneath the oak tree. And so, as Spike's stories filled the air, Whiskers began to question the value of his own quiet existence. But one afternoon, as the sun dipped low in the sky, something unexpected happened.
While Spike was entertaining the others with yet another story, Whiskers noticed Lily slipping away from the crowd.
Her gaze wandered, and soon enough it fell on him, sitting alone under his tree. Whiskers froze, unsure of what to do. He watched as Lily approached, her steps quiet and unhurried. There was no excitement in her eyes, no anticipation of grand stories or adventures. She simply sat beside him, curling up in the warm patch of sunlight without a word or gesture of grandeur. For a moment, they sat in silence, and Whiskers' heart pounded in his chest, though he didn't understand why. As the days turned into weeks, Lily continued to visit him. She no longer seemed interested in Spike's stories or the crowds that gathered around him. Instead, she would find Whiskers in his quiet corner, and they would sit together watching the world pass by. There was no need for words between them, no need for grand gestures or displays of bravery. They simply enjoyed the peace and stillness that came from being together.
Whiskers began to notice the little things about Lily that made her special. The way her eyes softened when she looked at the sky during a quiet sunset. how she seemed to find beauty in the simplest moments, the rustle of leaves in the wind, the gentle flutter of a butterfly. He realized that she wasn't drawn to excitement or adventure but to the calm, steady rhythm of life, and in that quietness they found an unspoken connection.
Spike, on the other hand, still roamed the neighborhood, boasting of his battles and the hardships he had overcome. But over time, fewer cats gathered around him. His stories, once thrilling and captivating, began to lose their charm. While Spike's world was loud and full of action, it became clear that not everyone sought excitement. Some, like Lily, longed for the simple joys that came from quiet moments shared with someone who understood them. And so, without ever needing to speak, Whiskers found love in the most unexpected way. He didn't need to change who he was or pretend to be something he wasn't. In his gentle, quiet way, he had found someone who saw the world as he did, slow, calm, and filled with beauty in the smallest details. Whiskers never became the center of attention in the neighborhood, and that was perfectly fine with him. He had something far more precious, a quiet bond with Lily that didn't need words or stories to prove its depth.
They had each other, and in the stillness of their shared moments, they found a love that was deeper and truer than any tale Spike could tell. In the end, Whiskers realized that love wasn't about being bold or brave in the ways others admired. It was about finding someone who saw you for who you truly were, and for Whiskers, that was more than enough.